Hello and welcome back to another LEGO Star Wars review. This time I'm here with set 75284, Knights of Ren transport ship. The set was released on August 1st, 2020, has 595 pieces, is rated ages 9 plus and comes with 3 minifigs. As you'll see there in the bottom right corner, we have Rey in all white clothing, which is nice. We have labelled Knights of Ren, which is from left to right, Kuruk and Cardo, which is nice there because Kuruk is the actual pilot of the Knights of Ren transport ship. Plus we've not seen these two done at all, so it's nice to see them in here, definitely. The set retails at €69.99 in euros, €64.99 in pounds and $69.99 in dollars. The Night Buzzard was an Oubliette class transport modified and used by the Knights of Ren. Originally, the ship was used as a dungeon ship or a prison ship, but was liberated along with all its prisoners by the Knights of Ren a little bit before Kylo Ren was in charge of them all. This then became their home, piloted by Kuruk, as I stated earlier. The ship held 1 pilot and 4 gunners armed with a forward laser turret, midship laser cannon turret, rear heavy laser cannon turret, and 2 rear-facing fixed laser cannons. It was roughly the same length and height as the Millennium Falcon, but about half the width. Their crude modifications to the engines added more thrust, but caused them to spew noxious gas as it flew. So that's kind of makes it a little bit more menacing. Also, they painted it black because black. He's quite an emo Sith Lord, the Knight of Ren. He's not even a Sith Lord, in fairness. But anyway, skipping on past that, let's get a look at the back of the box. So you'll see here the ship from a different angle, as per usual with the back of any Lego box. And you will see 2 action boxes. You'll see there on the top right, it shows that it has spring-loaded shooters and a little mechanism as well to push the spring-loaded shooters. And on the bottom left there, you will see that one of the hatches opens up there, so you can put a figure inside, although I have seen reviews about this already. Contrary to my general routine with kind of reviewing sets, I don't look at reviews first, but I did see a couple of these because I didn't plan on getting this set. But I have seen and heard that it doesn't actually fit the figure in fully. They're kind of poking out like you see here. Also then you can see play it in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga whenever we get that in 2028. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about the rest of the box there. Let's get on to the review. So here you see everything that comes with the set. You get, of course, the ship in the background. You get your 3 minifigs, each with 1 attachment. Notably, sometimes figures do come with more than that, but this time not so much. You get 2 torpedoes there as well. You also get a spare one, but I have that parted with the spare parts list, so I have it, stored away at the moment. But yeah, this is literally all you get with the set. There's nothing, like no side bills, no extra, like, I don't know, like handcuffs or something for the figures or anything really. So that is a little bit lacking, if you ask me. But yeah, let's just get on to the minifigs. So first up here we have Rey in her all white robe. We have seen this figure before in the, I think, Pasana speeder chase. I didn't get that set myself because I wasn't half as much of an avid collector back then and didn't really care that much for the prequels whenever they came out. It's not that I don't like them, but I just, cared a little less for some of the sets that did come out. And then we have also seen her in the advent calendar from last year that was sold out rather quickly and never came back into stock, so a lot of people would have missed that. So this is, I think at the moment, one of the only ways to get her. We see there on the face, she looks a little bit stern, a little bit serious, and then I'll just show you the back print there for the head as well. She's a little bit more happy, a little bit more of a smile there. We get the typical Rey hairpiece there with the 3 little buns on the back there. I think that is exclusive to her. And then on the torso, we see some nice flesh-colored arms to make it look sleeveless, which is a nice touch. And we also see the crisscross white robes there and a little bit of the black kind of circle-y things in there to make it look like she has a more feminine figure. We also then see the belt is printed down onto the belt piece, and then there's a little bit of like her robe coming out the bottom here as well. That's printed from the torso straight down onto the leg, which is really nice. We also then see a little bit of flesh on the legs there as well to make it look like she's wearing boots and shorts and stuff. And I think overall, I think the figure is actually quite nice. I think the torso and leg print in there is really nice. On the back here, you will see her hair is covering what makes it look like a hood. So you take that off and you will kind of notice it a little bit more. You'll also see a small bit more of the crisscross and a little bit more of the belt there. Looking really nice, and I'm actually quite happy to have this minifigure. I tried to get it in the advent calendar, but it was sold out by the time I went to buy it. She comes, of course, with her blue lightsaber, and she holds it like any other figure would. Nothing too crazy there or unusual or unexpected. But yeah, definitely a really nice minifigure. I'm quite happy to have it. I think it looks really well. Next up then we have Kuruk, I think is how you pronounce his name, who comes, like all the other Knights of Ren, with a specifically molded helmet for this figure. I think the mold is quite nice there, definitely. But getting onto the print, you will see a little bit of silver there on the eyes, which is really nice. You will see the grill on the mouth there as well. The little lines printed there is quite nice looking. And then the whole way around, the helmet isn't printed, but it's molded the whole way around, of course. Underneath, you will see just a black head, nothing underneath there. That is what it is, I suppose. We never see their faces, so it makes sense. I'll just take this off to show you the torso print there. It's nice. It's gunmetal grey the whole way through the figure. I think it's really nice. Even the arms as well, gunmetal grey. You got black hands there, but the printing on the top here, you'll see a little bit of kind of, I'm not quite sure what any of it is, but it is nice. It's a little bit of detail there that we didn't really need, but they did go to the extra mile and give us a little bit of silver on the top there as well. Some lines here to make it look like his kind of robes, and underneath there his tattered kind of robes as well, with a little bit of belt buckle there as well. Some nice printing there, definitely. On the back, you'll see not much of anything, a little bit more lines and stuff like that. But it is definitely a nice minifigure. I think the detail is good on it. I think it's printed well. I think the main draw for me liking this figure is the fact that it's all gunmetal grey. I like that slight shine off the whole thing. He comes, of course, with his gun that I don't like, because they do this piece rather well, and then they just go adding that on for no reason. I don't think they need to. I think the gun piece itself is perfect, and they keep ruining it by putting stuff on it. But that is just a personal opinion there. Yeah, he holds it as any other minifigure would. He is all right balance when doing so. If you have him straight up, he does fall over, but like other minifigures, if he's not on studs, you have to kind of bend his legs back a little bit just to hold it up straight there. But yeah, definitely a nice minifigure to add to the collection. Notably, he is the pilot of the ship, so it's very good to have him in this set compared to any other. It makes a lot of sense. But yeah, let's get on to the next one. Finally then, for the minifigures, we have Cardo, which again has a specifically molded helmet for this minifigure. You'll see there that it is molded the whole way around. There is no printing on the helmet at all, but the mold is quite nice. As you'll see there, you see the little bit of the mask coming down there attached to the helmet there, which is nice. You see a few kind of holes there in the top. You see a line going around the whole way around the back. And yeah, it's definitely nice to see them going to this level. And underneath then you'll maybe consider the eyes there to be dual molded or printed, but they are, as you can see there, just straight up holes in the mask. You might see it there as well. But yeah, underneath then you will see a black head as per usual. And on the torso, some nice kind of, individuality there from the other Knights of Ren, because it has like little bombs up here and little kind of torpedo things, I think, down there. Again, this is gunmetal grey, just like the other Knights of Ren, apart from the little bits of silver you see on the bombs there and on those little torpedo looking things. He has belt and leg printing, just like all the rest, which I think is really nice. They've put a good level of detail into all of these figures. You'll also see that Grieveling coming around the back there, and a little bit of the kind of armor there as well. Definitely a nice little minifigure to have with the set. And finally, we have been able to complete the Knights of Ren, so that is definitely a draw for some people. He comes with a brick built gun, which has no gun piece in the middle of it. Usually brick built guns have a small bit in the middle that is a gun, and they just add on to it, but this time they just completely used Lego pieces, but that is a little bit interesting, to be honest. I wasn't really that impressed with it because I just don't really like the look of it that much, but it is still nice to see a little bit of individuality again in this minifigure. He holds it like any others would. Putting it down there keeps him up, and then putting it up, of course, will give him a little bit of a balance issue, but if you angle back the legs, and then he will work fine like that. But that's it for the minifigures. Let's get on to the set. So here we see the Knights of Ren transport shuttle. Notably, I will just mention a few things straight off the bat. It's supposed to be the same size as the Millennium Falcon in universe, and what we get compared to what we get for the Millennium Falcons that we've gotten doesn't match up, I think. Also, it is a massive dust collector. I will get that out of the way as well. I had it sitting here for all day yesterday, and I had to dust it this morning before the review. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I suppose we can start off with the functions of the set. First of all, we have a few little guns here which are good for playability. You can move them around. Sometimes they'll fall off like that one there. Maybe that one isn't really meant to move, but you can aim it if you please for play. This one here as well moves up and down. It doesn't move left to right, same as this one here moves up and down, but not left to right. You will have 3 little compartments to put your figures in. So that's this one and here. They are a little bit awkward to open because I feel like if you do open them up, this little like circly disc on the top will actually peel off over time, especially if you're using it a lot. So you have those 2 hatches that open up, and you also have a hatch here which is kind of blocked by the gun, so you do need to put up the gun first, or the gun will move out of the way. Because it's not really, that sturdy on there or anything. It is wiggly. So it will move up, but again, it is just a little thing worth noting. It's not a great design in that sense. You can stand your figures inside of each of these. I will just note before I put in figures that there is a little clip here and here to stop them going maybe in the wrong place, or to kind of aim them in there properly, and there's a little bit more space in here than the other 2, so that is kind of worth noting. So they go in here like this, and that is as far down as they go. They don't sit in there. If you want, you could probably sit in there. Now this is the first time I'm trying, so just give me the benefit of the doubt here. You can probably like aim them in there if you want, maybe like that. So they can sit in there a little bit, but they won't go down to the bottom there, and it will be harder to take them out than if they were just standing. He'll also then do the exact same in there, stand up like with no difficulties there. But then we have this place here, and I've not put anyone in here. I've not tried this out before the review or anything, so I'm going to try this out now. I'll see what happens. So you can place them in standing up there. If you do, it won't close. You could probably place him in sitting down there as well. We'll try that now. So he goes in there in the middle there, and the thing also won't close that way either, so that is kind of pointless that they've given us so much space in there. I'm going to try and put him back a couple of studs there, see if we go into the middle or anything like that. So there he is in the middle. It kind of closes if he's in the middle there with his head pushed back there, if he's lying back, as you see there, but it doesn't really close fully. It is almost completely pointless to have that little bit of interior in there because nobody fits in there. Now another thing is you could put him in there without being on any studs, and he even then actually I thought he'd close more properly there, but even then there is a small little gap there that is kind of pushed open. But yeah, see, again, like I'm sticking to my statement, it's almost completely pointless to have that. And if you put him in there without being on the studs or anything, he might be a little bit more difficult to take out. Also then the other functions we have is the spring-loaded shooters. So you press on these here. There is also one on the other side symmetrically in the exact same place. So yeah, we just literally push on that and it goes flying. So that is interesting there. Definitely nice for play, but at the same time it's one of the only things that work very well for play. Getting on to the look of the thing, I think it looks pretty good, in fairness, for a display set, but the fact that it collects dust so quickly would bring the set down again. You know, it definitely does. But again, I can't really fault the outside top view look of the thing. I also really love these engines here. I think they look really well. I also kind of like this satellite dish on the back there. I think that's a nice little build. It's nothing too complicated, but I think it is still nice, and I like these indents here, the way it goes in there to the engines. And these little tubes I think are really cool looking, definitely. The front there could have been done a little bit more detailed, I mean, it's not really filled out as well as it should be, maybe. But yeah, that is what it is. Again, from the top front, just the aerial view, I suppose, this set does look really well. But then you see this. And I'm not sure about anybody else, but I'm not a fan of that at all. I mean, I know I'm not going to display it upside down like that, but again, it's just knowing that all of this is here, and it could have been a little bit more expensive and finished. You know, I wouldn't have minded paying a little bit extra for this set and getting an interior or getting the thing filled out a little bit. You know, I mean, definitely isn't really a great use of space there. I do like the landing gear, however, but that's only a very small part of what this is under here, in fairness. You'll see there that this is the little box he was sitting in. It's the only bit of interior. And like, what they could have done something here. They could have, in fact, they could have just made it bigger, simple as, and made it bigger and better. And that is another problem if you're playing this thing. Kind of falls off quite a lot. It is prone to the breakage there, definitely. But there's not an awful lot left to say about the set. I mean, there is some nice details on the top that I didn't point out. I suppose that I could have pointed out this bit here, that like tiled off bit with the vents there on the back, I think is quite nice. But at the same time, it doesn't bring up the set enough to, you know, to make it a great set. The colors on it I think are nice, but I think it's maybe a little bit too symmetrical for what they've done, because they modified the ship themselves and rather crudely. In fact, they did such a bad job on the engines, it starts spewing noxious gas. So that is, you know, that is a little bit of a problem. There are obviously no mechanics, so it would be a little less symmetrical, surely, no? I do like the paint job on it, though. I think the paint job is quite nice. I mean, they have left a few little grey bits in here and there. Especially like here as well, like the missed bits of the paint as well, which I think is nice, or even just, you know, had the thing chipped, which is interesting there as well. And again, another thing, for a prison ship, it should definitely have a lot more storage space inside for prisoners. I mean, it was used originally as a prison ship for, I'm not sure who actually owned it first, but it was a prison ship, and then the Knights of Ren used it as a prison ship whenever they had captives. And another thing is, just going back to my point earlier about the Millennium Falcon, any play scale Millennium Falcon we've got has been sizably bigger than this. And this, however, it's half the width of the Millennium Falcon, is still the length and size and height, I mean, of the Millennium Falcon. So it should have been quite a lot bigger than what we got. I think even if it was that much longer, and that much bigger, it would be really good. It would be a really, really good set. But yeah, unfortunately, there's not an awful lot of points for me to talk about. I've pretty much said everything there is to say about the set. I wish it wasn't so, because it, again, looks really nice from here, so it's making me want to love it, but it's very hard to love. And it's very hard to talk about because there's like 3 things it can do, and they do that badly. So that'll pretty much do it for the set, guys. Unfortunately, I can't exactly say much else about it. On the play side of things, it gives low amount of playability really, and not very good. Like the small parts it does, like 1, 2, 3 and 4, 3 of them don't work well at all. I mean, this just is an eyesore. It doesn't function well, like it doesn't. And this storage container in here is almost completely pointless. You can store maybe weapons and stuff in there, but you can't really store minifigures in there properly. Useless functions almost. The only function that works perfectly is the spring-loaded shooters, and that is not saying much. From a collector's point of view, if you miss this one, it's not a big deal. It's really not. I mean, sure, get it if you want, if it's something you really want, but don't have too high hopes when you're coming into this. From a display point of view, from the outside, from the top view, it looks quite nice, especially from here, more so than anywhere else, because, again, as I said, the front here looks a little bit less kind of filled in, and also you will see the shooters there as well, which is not ideal for some people, but with the figures, that's the problem when you come to a display point of view. You don't want them sitting out of it like that, because it just looks ridiculous from a display point of view, from an adult display point of view. I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. Again, it doesn't look terrible, but there's just too many bad points in this set for me to truly recommend it. And that last sentence works on all of the aspects of it, from play, from display, or collectors. There's not enough good points about this set for me to actually recommend it. I just don't think it's great. I really don't. I was surprised, and it was better than I thought it was going to be, but not even nearly enough for it to be a good set. Thanks a million for watching my video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below if you think there's anything that needs to be said. Thanks a million, guys. See you again. Take care.